Call a meeting to order. Call the Board of Health meeting to order. And first item of business is to approve any available minutes from February 15th. I do have an addition to that, and that is under public session, under Roseanne Mack. She thanked Mr. Hoffman for his many years of service on the board, but I want to add to that and requested that he resign as chair. Mr. Hoffman declined, so that got left off. I've got it. You have it? Yeah, I got it. Okay, so with that addition, do we have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
I don't think we need any discussion. All in favor?
Catalano, aye.
Hoffman, aye.
Lane, aye.
Okay, that's done. All right, moving on. Health agent report.
I would just like to update the board on a couple of different items, some of which are not included on the agenda, but they're just updates specifically. We've recently had some requests for beaver resolution permits. Typically the beaver season is November 1st to April 15th. Sometimes we are requested of 10-day emergency permits, whereas beavers cause a problem or affects public ways and or private septic systems. In both cases, this is public ways, or a public way and private property on the second one. There was 6 large beavers taken out of the campground road area on behalf of the DPW that were affecting our roadways. And another 4 were taken out off of Pratt's Junction Road. There are still more over on Pratt's Junction Road, and I would assume there are still more, but the trapper is trying to catch some of the males. We'll see, he's been pretty successful so far. This particular trapper, although I'm not familiar with him, but I understand he's a trainer, he's an educator in this particular task. So he seems to know what he's doing.
When you say remove, is it to their demise or are they being relocated?
No, they're not being relocated.
Okay.
They want to
relocate animals in Massachusetts.
Entirely true.
And we also had a complaint over off of Bean Road. So we're looking into the complaint specifically associated with maybe some trash and debris cleanup on that complaint. This was just this week that complaint came in.
Is that an individual or is it a business?
No, it's an individual residence, yes. Those are the only 2 updates that I have.
So I know you attended a couple of seminars, and I am interested especially in the cannabis one. I know Maureen is too, but
Would you clarify that?
but I was just wondering, because we have people waiting for the variance, so maybe we could talk about that after, if that's okay, Mr. Chair. It's up to you.
Well, I mean, we've got to sit here for 5 more minutes before we can go to the next agenda item, so we could, if you want.
If I want to?
Well, it says,
I'm just interested to know what the DEP said about that.
Well, it says other items, so you can.
Okay.
You can have 5 minutes. At 6:10, we've got to do something else.
So, you know, I did attend a couple of seminars, Rich, and I apologize. I forgot all about any briefing or update on that. One of which was down in Taunton. It was more associated with Title V, different regulations, different processes, and coincidentally enough, the one in Taunton, it was a large turnout. There was in excess of 300 people that were there, and the only way I know that is We attended it. I was invited to a specific table, and the individuals that were there well in advance of the meeting. So they had the opportunity. This individual happened to be an engineer, and as you can imagine, quite detailed. He had counted every table and every chair at every table to get a head count there, what he saw. It was 300 chairs worth at the tables, not counting anything that was along the back wall. And all chairs at each table were full. But what I should be getting at specifically is with that particular seminar or training, they were talking about Title V inspections and the process of determining groundwater. I know that's kind of a sore subject, but that was part of one of the topics that they had there. When an inspection occurs, specifically, the determination process is somewhat open-ended. And it doesn't keep credence to a consistency with all the inspectors. So, as you can imagine, one would say, this could be a pass or this could be a fail in one way or another. It doesn't just specifically apply to groundwater determinations. So what this particular topic was getting at was there needs to be more continuity, more specifics associated with it so that everybody's on the same page. And it's not just to the topic of groundwater determinations. I forget, there was several topics on that one, but that one caught my interest. The cannabis control or cannabis seminar, they talked a lot about the odors. They talked about, and which I'm going to say as well, I just recently received a complaint yesterday about the one we have in Sterling. I have not been out there to verify that, which I expect to do tomorrow sometime, and speak to them as well if not. If this continues, meaning if we can't get something, I'd like to ask that group to come in front of the board and kind of see what they may offer, so that we're not back and forth on that particular topic.
When you say that group, what group are you talking about? The
Shawsett Road.
The actual
facility
people, okay.
And again, to that particular address, Rich, the last time we spoke to them, a month and a half or 2 months ago, their ventilation system was being upgraded and they were doing repair work and management to that. At some point they were outsourcing it, now they're supposed to be managing it in-house themselves. I just don't want to get back and forth with me going down to them and them keep saying, yes, we're going to work on it or we're working on it. Maybe it's something that it would have a stronger arm if they came in front of the board. I'll update the board through email after my visit tomorrow, but certainly they may want to take a ride by there themselves, each of you individually, just to see if there's anything that may be out of the ordinary that you will observe.
Well, that's part of my interest is I have gone down to the gym, and sat in the parking lot. So there are certain days that you can definitely smell it.
And it's my understanding that those days consist of the harvesting process.
Yeah.
But regardless what it consists of, they do have management control in place for that purpose.
Did the DEP address that at all?
They addressed it by saying that it would be up to the local Board of Health.
I mean, if I may, this has happened a few times before, but it's always gotten resolved relatively quickly. I mean, I've been through the facility.
It has, Alan.
And so there's got to be something,
changed the scrubbers.
something different here.
They've changed the scrubbers in the past. And the filters, right? So, maybe they need a different technology for as far as the filtration system. I don't know.
It's strange that they had something that worked pretty well. The complaints were very, very intermittent, very, very intermittent, and were always quickly resolved. And now it seems to be different.
I mean, we've had 2 incidents here close in proximity, meaning, within a couple of months apart. I'm just hoping that they're still working on something as opposed to not doing anything.
Yeah, okay. Okay, we gotta move on.
Yep.
Okay.
I do have some more. At the end, can I ask some questions?
Yeah,
Okay,
I
yeah.
probably have some myself.
Okay, good.
Okay, we're at 610, we got a variance request for 193 Clinton Road. Come up, and is somebody with you who's the landowner or the owner?
So I'm Chris Stoddard, I'm the engineer on behalf of the applicant.
Okay,
You want me to sit down, stand up?
whatever you prefer.
You want to see a copy of the plans?
Yeah, we do want to see the plan.
You can pull a chair over. That's how we have it set up downstairs. It works pretty well.
So what we have is an existing two-bedroom, single-family home with a failed, they had a failed Title V. The existing leach pit was located over here on the northern side of the house. There's obviously a series of wetlands on the property and on the adjacent property. We did have those flagged. We have been before the Conservation Commission for their approval under our area. So basically, we have a well located pretty much smack dab in the middle of the property. So we did do some soil testing up here, down here in the southern portion of the site. The groundwater was too high at the time, so we decided to take a soil sample and send that to the lab. Based on, we did a existing condition survey. So what we've done is we've sited the existing tank, we left it on the side of the house to keep the two tanks, to keep us outside the 50-foot radius of the well. We are proposing to pump it across the driveway up to the new septic system. This does meet your requirement of a minimum 1,000 square foot. We are outside the 50-foot buffers of all the wetlands, and we are outside the 50-foot radius of the well. We were able to get 54 while maintaining all required offsets to the property lines. So we are here to request a local upgrade for the use of sieve analysis and the use of reducing the leach field down to 54 feet from the well, from the required 100 feet under Title V.
Does town water run by this property?
I don't know. There is a well, there's a fire hydrant up here on this property. I do not know if there's town water here. I did go in the basement to confirm that that is connected, that well is connected to the house. So that is its potable water source currently.
I don't have an answer as far as town water goes. I know town water is in that proximity, but if it passes by the front of the house, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I did take a walk down and I didn't notice any additional hydrants down in this area. And I know we're really close to the property, the town line.
Yeah, right.
So I'm wondering if it, I don't know. I didn't have, I do know we are connected to that, so. Like I said, I can't, I don't know where else really to go on the site. I think we tried to do the best we could and meet as many requirements as we could.
And your offset to groundwater is what now?
We maintained the required 4 feet, so we're not asking for
You're
a
not
reduction.
asking for variance?
Nope.
So given the circumstances of the plan, he does have a 4-foot offset to groundwater. Yes, it's within the board's purview to grant a 54-foot offset to the private water supply. And given the fact that he has that 4-foot offset, I have a comfort level here. You know, he meets it. It's a tight lot. It's less than an acre. He's got the private water supply. He's got wetlands. He's provided 1,000 square feet of system. It's only a 2-bedroom, and we do have a deed restriction in place for this.
Oh, yeah, correct. It has been recorded.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, you know, again, I think given the square footage size of it, I don't want to say it's not possible, but it's highly unlikely that this will contaminate the well, given those factors.
So we have a deed restriction for 2 bedrooms, right?
Correct.
It's already been recorded.
Okay, you get 1,000 square feet and a 4-foot offset.
Correct.
Okay. Any questions?
No.
No.
I guess we can go for it.
We did notify them, sir.
Right, I saw the cards.
I don't know.
I just didn't know if there was any butters come to speak, that's all.
Okay, hear a motion on this?
I move that we grant the variance request at 193 Clinton Road for the reduction of the septic system setback from the water supply lines to the 54 feet that is proposed rather than the 100.
Second.
Any further comments?
Do we need to do the sieve analysis?
That should
That's
be-
just,
that-
that's just.
That should be part of, no, it should be an
Should be
approval
part.
process, so
Okay.
in your approval, you should note that.
Okay.
So the motion should,
Motion also includes using the sieve analysis as a percolation test could not be performed.
Second that.
any further discussion? No others. Okay, call for a vote. All in favor?
Catalano, aye.
Any night.
Hoffman,
Thank you very much.
See you.
okay, next item is item number 6. It's a variance request for 6 Fitch Farm Road. And the variance is requested, variance for offset the groundwater from 4 to 3 feet. Sieve analysis performed. And that's it, 2, right?
2.
2.
Cited in multiple areas, but yes, 2 total. So I'm Evan Carlone, thank you for having me tonight. 6 Fitch Farm Road is an existing 4-bedroom home. We have a failed leach field, which is a trench system. We did the deep test hole as part, confirmatory deep test hole as part of the Title V, and we found that the bottom of the field was in fact in groundwater. So we went on and did extra. So these 2 were part of the Title V, and then these 2 were part of the design process. We found groundwater in between 32 and 38 inches over the in this area. The leach field down here was higher, 18, but we are well downhill of the leach field itself. So we are requesting a 1-foot reduction to the groundwater table. This leach field will be about between 2 to 3 feet raised of what's here. We do have some fluctuating contours. So we were requesting a 1-foot reduction from the local regulation as well as the LUA process. The next LUA request is for the use of a sieve analysis in lieu of the percolation test. It was too wet, as many properties have been this year. So we took a sample, took it to the lab. We came back with a sandy loam 0.33 loading rate. And we had a 1,001 square foot leach field. The loading rate gives us 1,333 for a conventional system. With the Presby, we went down to 1,001, so it didn't go down to the full 40% reduction, but we maintained that 1,000 square foot. So we're still pumped monolithic tanks, 2,000 gallon dual compartment for the septic tank.
So this is a relatively flat area, I think? I mean, most of the tests are at this end.
Yeah. Up in this area here?
Yeah.
Relatively, it's the leach field now, so it slopes off, it sheds water as it should, but relatively flat. So we dip down into the property. We have a dip right here, and then it does come back up to where the existing leach field is. So we will be encroaching into that area a bit with this leach field, knocking out the portions that we get into and then bringing in a fresh site.
I've reviewed the plan. Again, he has a 1,000 square foot system that he's provided here, meeting our regulations. You know, he's got limited I mean, he's got 2 acres worth of land here, but the SIF analysis is a common thing given the circumstances of water. Oddly enough, this septic system was permitted. The soil testing originally for this development was done in '93 era, when the system was designed and permitted in 1995. And again, it was done under the older version of Title V code, but you know, all the plan meets the requirements with the exception of the 2 requests.
Any abutters here? You did have the green cards, right?
I have.
You gave them, yeah. Okay, any questions further questions from the board?
No.
Do I hear a motion to accept the variance?
I'll make a motion that we accept the variance as written in the agenda.
Second that. Please do a vote. All in favor?
Catalano, aye.
Lane, aye.
Hoffman, aye.
Thank you.
Okay.
Permit will be waiting for your pickup tomorrow or the beginning of next week.
Thank you, Dan. Thank you.
Okay, we've got, next one, next item is discuss job posting for the animal inspector. What's the animal inspector?
As you know, our animal inspector had resigned. I don't have the effective date, but she has now resigned. I have been speaking with our town administrator, Bill Cadwell, about that position, and I understand that our current animal control officer, which is a different position, and there are overlapping duties associated between animal control officer and animal inspector. Kelly has expressed an interest in taking on that position. I have not spoken to her directly yet. I would like to do that. If that's the case, and again, I'm working with Bill Cadwell on the posting, or if she's interested, then we'll move forward with something on that line. But I wanted to bring the board up to speed on that.
Well, don't we have to post it?
I don't have an answer for that, Alan. I don't know. That's what I'm working with Bill on. I don't know if our current animal control officer wants the position. Can we offer her those duties? I don't know that. And I did put this on the agenda before I had spoken specifically to Bill.
I think we're obligated to post it.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the human resources thing recently, but I think at least we might, I think we may have to post it internally at least. Maureen?
Yeah, it goes internally first and then you can put it out. So good chance that if Kelly's interested, then
It doesn't need to be posted other than internally, so.
I will
But
certainly.
all of that should go through Bill,
Absolutely.
yeah.
I will, I'll confirm an interest with Kelly. I'll follow up with Bill and offer him that information. And then if that's the case, we'll post it internally. And then,
Well, I mean, I guess the question is, are we ending up effectively combining the 2 positions?
they're not
They're not
gonna be
legally
combined.
combined.
No, she's just going to have both positions, because they are separate.
They are.
Yeah.
And in the past, you may recall, Lou Massey used to manage both positions.
Right.
Right.
It's not.
We've had several jobs in town that are like that, so.
But again, I really regret that I didn't have the opportunity yet to speak with Kelly to confirm, factually that she is an interest in this.
I think she should apply. I think that there should be a paper trail here of what's going on. I mean, I have nothing against this, but I mean, I think it's important that there be a paper trail so that, down the road, somebody can look up, well, the second position became open, it was posted on the town website, this person applied and now holds both positions. But they are separate positions.
Yeah,
under
yes,
the
sir.
town bylaws.
And we have a listing of the responsibilities. I think we spoke about that at the last meeting.
So we have, I provided all the board members with some of the tasks
Yeah.
that the animal inspector had performed over the years. You also may look at General Law, Chapter 140 and 129, which defines each of those two tasks, meaning the animal control officer and the animal inspector.
Is this a voluminous thing or just a short thing? I mean, I don't think any of the three of us actually know exactly what the description is.
The job description?
Yeah.
Well, that was the list that you provided for us, right?
Yeah.
The job description.
Yes.
And I'm thinking if we're posting it, we can just take that,
Yeah.
post that.
Agreed.
That was my thought process there.
And again, I will check with Bill, I'll have good discussions with him to find out the processes.
Yeah, I mean, I think we should encourage this to the extent we can, but it seems to me we gotta have the proper paper trail in this. Because down the road, they might be separated again, right? If there's two separate positions, unless we,
But that's how Lou did them, as
No,
two
I know,
separate positions.
yes, he did.
And
they
they're
were-
posted as two separate
Yeah, they
positions.
were always-
It's always been separated out,
Yeah.
so.
It would be essentially would they get two separate paychecks?
We budget for the animal inspector.
Yeah.
The police budgets for the animal control officer, so there are two separate checks.
I think you're concerned that someone might think it's one job down the line. But I don't think
I just think we ought to make sure
Yep.
we cross the Ts on this. I mean, I have no objections, I think it's a good idea, but we might not always be able to have that happen. Okay, so I encourage you to move forward with it. I don't see anybody opposed. I mean, we're just trying to make sure we document exactly what's happened here and not foreclose on they're being separated again unless the town meeting begins to, says, no, we want to incorporate both positions.
Understood.
So should we make a motion to authorize
With-
David to actually put it together and post it? Is that what the thought process is?
I think that would be appropriate. I'll work with Bill on that if the board is willing to make that motion.
So I'll make that motion that we authorize David to move forward with Bill Caldwell to put together the posting and post it, so it can be done before the next meeting.
I'll second that. I think we already discussed it, right?
Yes, we did.
At length. So all in favor of having David take care of this with the town administrator?
Catalano, aye.
Hoffman, aye.
Lane, aye.
Alan, did you second that motion?
I did.
Thank you.
Okay. Other items before we go to public session?
I have none.
Well, I just wanted to follow up some more on the seminar there on the cannabis, because I'm, right?
Go ahead,
Because
yeah.
you said you might have some more
Yeah,
discussion
yeah,
too.
yeah, no, that's fine.
I know you said that it could come up to the local board, but is there anything that the DEP can do to help us? I mean, did any topics come up in that? Because this can't be just a problem that Sterling has. I mean, I know you drive through Fitchburg.
Go to Clinton, go to Hannaford. Go to Hannaford, right, Laura?
You can't even keep your car vent on or else you just suffocate.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering if they must be dealing with it other places, so.
So I didn't hear anybody raise their hand and say that, Clinton, Fitchburg, or any other town has, has this issue. I know that there are other issues, and I don't know how the other towns are dealing with that. specifically Clinton, I was going to reach out to Clinton to see if they've had any processes in place for dealing with odor concerns. You know, it seems, unfortunately, it seems subjective.
So,
Rich.
well,
Well, wait a minute, it's got to
Gotta
be
wait.
recognized through the chair.
No,
So-
Can you say something about this
No,
cannabis?
you have to be recognized by the chair,
So-
and he was
Yeah.
speaking.
so I guess, did you go to the Devons one?
No, I did not make it to the next one.
Well, I was at the Devons one, and there was a lot of conversation about it. And people did raise their hands, and the DEP does have solutions. They will actually come out and assist us if we need it. So, I actually have the woman's name. She specializes in it, in just odors and sound. That's all she does. She was a wealth of information, and, you know, I think if we continue to have problems with that, we need to draw on her.
What's her name, Michelle?
Michelle, yes.
Delmar.
I believe so. I have her business card, but I left it in the truck.
She dealt in past with smoke issues, smoke and dust issues, and I assume that would be in the same field. That's why I offered her name.
Michelle Delmar, yes.
So she has been a great resource in our past issues with smoke and dust.
Okay.
But when you say she offered, what did she offer for as far as resources?
She said she's a recognized expert in odor. She actually went and got certified. Her nose is certified. So, and that's why I bring it up, because, you know, she put it out to everybody. Fitchburg came up. There were several other cities that came up, and that's when she mentioned that, you know, she even went and got her nose certified, because, you know, there are certain people that can't smell a thing, you know, so in order to, because she testifies in court, in order to get above that, she's went and got certified. So, huge resource.
Michelle Delmar. And I'll reach out to her, unless you would rather, but I'll reach out to her and, you know, just kind of see if there's something she can offer more immediate with a situation similar to this.
Well, I think, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I think it'd be appropriate for us to try to handle it first, and then go to the state, you know.
And I guess what I was getting at was I'd like to become better educated on that, knowing that, you know, you had a great experience with her. I'd love to hear her information as well. So absolutely, I think the board should handle this first before we go to anything beyond this. But
And then also there, they had quite a big discussion by Bruce Bach on deep hole testing. So that was very informative as well, and the proper way to do it, and the proper way to fill out the forms, and what's being looked for. So I found that very informative as well.
Bruce also worked on the virtual one, which I attended, and he did speak specifically to the process of Form 11A, filling it out incomplete, you know, not incompletely filling it out, but in full.
Well, what he was looking for was to have everybody, like all the towns, filling it out the same way.
Yes,
The way that people are taught, yeah.
No, I've said this to Alan and others before. When we do plan review, there's a specific engineer that their format is always the same on every plan. And it's extremely helpful in our review process. Some engineers change their formatting when they're drafting stuff up, and it sometimes makes it a little bit more difficult to try and find out where this information is. And if you're highlighting it, you can really pick it up or something like that. But the consistency, whether it be the plan review process and or even the forms being filled out in full, is important. And when we do soil evaluations for new designs or designing a septic system, those are things that we would require, that Form 11A.
So, anything else before we go to public session?
No.
Okay, we'll open it to public session. Mrs. Ritchie?
Laura Ritchie. I just wanted to comment on that marijuana thing. I did talk to the people in the Board of Health over in Clinton one day when I was over there getting gas, because it was just outrageously stink. And the lady, all she offered me was saying that the places are supposed to change their filters on a regular basis, and that she would take it under advisement and let the people in town know. Okay, because I mean, you can't, like Maureen said, you can't even go to Hannaford, okay, without smelling it anywhere down there. And when I go over here to go to church, or or if I go down Choxa Road for anything, I have to shut my vent off, my air conditioning off and everything, because it just sucks the stink right in. And you got a new development that's gonna be coming down the street over here on 100 Clinton Road. The people, they're gonna be sorry, okay, when they can't open their windows when they buy a house there. So, I don't think the town really understood the repercussions, when they decided to let the people come and do business here, but that's besides the point. I'm just saying that's my experience with Clinton. Anyways, another subject here.
Well, I mean, since that was raised again, would it be worthwhile to have the board walk through it?
I mean, Rich walked, I think the prevailing winds, Rich mentioned that he was at the gym, the prevailing winds carry that in that direction as opposed to Clinton Road. I want to be clear, I don't think this is a bad situation that the town allowed this industry, this facility into our space, into the space of the town. I think we should be open-minded to that. I think there's a management issue going on there.
Do they need taller smokestacks? I don't know. I don't even know where the stuff.
I think there's a management issue that needs to occur. That's it. I don't want to say this is a bad thing. I just think that it needs to be worked on, and we can hopefully control this or manage it.
I believe in the past you've checked that they do change their filters, and there is a schedule for that. So.
Well, yeah, that's one of the things that they suggested is that if we decide to have them come in, that they present their filter changing schedule, because there is a set schedule. Depending on the type of system, there should be a set schedule, and they suggested one of the things that we might look for, if we get to this stage, is that, if the agent goes in or we decide to go in, that we ask to see their supply of filters, because what her experience was, if there's no supply of filters there, they're probably not following the schedule. Anyone who's following the schedule has the supply of filters there to do it. So there was a lot of recommendations, but there's also a lot of different systems as well. She listed probably 7 different types of filtering systems, if not more. I have the information, but so that's the first thing we'd have to look at to see.
Where exactly is this building on Choxa Road? Because obviously there's no sign telling you where it is.
And that's the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
You don't want us to know?
No.
No. It's. I mean, yeah. You can.
It's on Choxa.
Yeah. It's not hidden, but most of these places don't advertise what they are because of what they do. They can be targets for vandalism or even people breaking in. So I think it's a good thing that they don't advertise. There's not a big pot leaf out in front of it. That's probably good. And then
you wouldn't put a window in it.
The other thing is, when towns started to allow these to come in, like we still only have one facility, right?
Yeah.
Nobody knew what they were getting into, honestly. This was a new industry in Massachusetts. So I think Sterling, frankly, has taken a very conservative approach to it. We have one where there are cities and towns that have one on every corner. You know, so,
And that's why you can smell them.
Well,
okay, I'm good.
Maureen wants to say something.
The only thing I want to say, first of all, I live right up the street from this particular place. I never smell anything, and I have a really good nose. And secondly, it was the town that came and said, no signage, just for what Richard said
Yeah.
at the time. So it's not like they're doing anything, you know.
Nefarious.
Exactly. It was the town that said, and I think most of the facilities that are out and about, unless they're retailers, don't.
Quiet.
Like, you don't see any of the signs in Clinton either, and they actually have a couple on every corner, which is why it's so strong in Clinton. And again, it depends on what part of the situation they're in, you know, as far as the harvest goes. Once they harvest, but again, like Anne Marie even suggested when it happened before, checking the filters is the best idea. That they did, from when they first started, they did change their filtering system, the whole system. And now, like you suggested, Richard, or Anne Marie, you know, make sure that they have those filters in there. But that's something that you guys can do.
I mean, I'm sitting here. Should you be the first contact in there and then say the Board of Health is interested in walking through your facility?
I would think that would be appropriate, and if the board would be interested, I'm happy to set that up.
I think, you know, they seem to, the previous owners, if there was an issue, they took care of it right away. I mean, and there were very few issues here. And so I think maybe you should contact them. Say we've had a number of odor concerns, and what are you doing to do this? And say, if it's not resolved, the board is interested in meeting with you on this site.
I agree with that.
I mean, that kind of shows the flag, and I'd be surprised if they really want us to. Well, the previous owners didn't care.
They gave us a tour when they first opened. They gave. Did you
This
go
is
on
when
that?
they first opened.
When they first opened, but even now, they'll give you a tour. I mean, I've talked to the manager down there, and he said, "Oh, you should come back," because when we first went in there, it was still early on, you know. But it's a fascinating facility, to be honest with you. Honestly, Rich, and and so we did. I think it was John Kilcoyne and Ross and myself all went in, just head to toe in ice cream thingies.
And just something else that I kind of heard in your comments. Back when marijuana was legalized in the state, the location of facilities was decided that if your town voted to legalize, then your town was open to have a facility. So it's not like, you know, somebody made a bad decision.
No, I know that.
Okay,
It went to the voters.
Yeah,
Right.
it was at town meeting, yeah.
So I think what Anne Marie was saying, so when it was first legalized, if Sterling had voted yes to legalize it, then it wouldn't have had to go to the town meeting. We had to bring it back. We had to bring it back to the people because Sterling voted no. Yeah.
That's not true. No, Sterling voted yes.
We never voted no to marijuana.
In the state election?
No, the town was, yes, the town supported that.
I'd have to look that up. You mean, so when the state had it on their ballot?
Yes.
Sterling went to the no.
The Citizens Petition Initiative on the state ballot, I'm pretty sure that the town's vote was no, which is why we had to bring it, otherwise you wouldn't have had to bring it to the town meeting. Because, so in order for them to build the facility here, the town had to give them the permission. But I'm pretty sure we're off track, I apologize.
Okay. The path forward is Mr. Favor is going to contact them, and if we don't see improvement, we'll insist on an invite to go through the facade. I kind of showed up like that. Okay? Everybody, we done?
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
I just unfortunately want to address the situation with the steep observation hole again. And in front of me, I have 4 agendas, your minutes, okay, from back on December 10th, 2020, November 10th, 2021, December 2nd, 2021, and December 8th, 2022. So this is a history that goes back before your decision on December 8th of 2022, okay, that you were talking about this situation with the people that own the house at 24 Kendall Hill Road. And this is an executive session that you had on August 30th, 2021 with these people. So the information here says that nobody ever came to any public meetings, any public hearings. So there was no advertisement from 2020, 2021, okay, that you were deliberating and talking about what you decided to do on December 8th of 2022. So I think because you obviously, too, here you had a member was absent on December 8th, okay, that couldn't vote, even though it might not have mattered. And with the outcome of the special town meeting, I think that you guys should go back to the drawing board and start your process all over again so that you can give the people the correct information that you have failed to do for over 3 years. Okay, because what you did was, you're kind of like lying out of omission to me, because you haven't given anybody the facts, as Mr. Hardy keeps asking for, and he's probably going to ask again after my speech here, okay, that you have no evidence. You have nothing. The only thing that I have deduced from this paperwork that I have in front of me is that you have a personal vendetta against the people that you dealt with at 24 Kendall Hill Road.
We have 2 written opinions, both the same, from the town council that says this was legally adopted. I mean, you know, that's the basis. The town council looked at this, and on 2 occasions has written that the Board of Health acted within its authority.
You never shared it with the public.
Well, I mean, all I've got to say is this went to review. Town council has taken 2 shots at it, and both cases came down the same. And you actually were going to look into. Selectmen gave you permission to go out and look at this again.
Right.
And you've never reported back. You're not obligated to report to us, but.
I think the issue is beyond that. I personally feel the issue was resolved at the special town meeting when the vast majority of the voters asked this board to rescind it. And despite whether it was enacted legally or not, that I contend and have contended from the beginning is the issue with this board. When the voters request the board to do something, they should do it. It was a legal request, just like your argument is it was legally enacted.
Yes.
My argument is the request of the people was legal. They're not asking you to violate Title V. They're asking you, they asked this board, now me, to rescind the regulation that was put in place. And that's a legal request. We work for the people, we work for the voters, and some people may say, you know, there was that's only 300 and something people, but those are the people that come every time to our meetings to make these decisions. They are representative of the people in Sterling. And I still feel that this board should follow what the voters have asked them to do.
It's your opinion.
It is.
Okay.
Tim Hardy, Beaman Road. Actually, my question is for Ms. Catalano. And by the way, my apologies that I don't have the exact time index from the TV broadcast from February. So it would be a really concrete point of reference. But in the February meeting of the Board of Health, you had mentioned that the definition of the deep observation hole was a broad term, and that you / the Board of Health had been in the process of defining a deep observation hole more specifically. You had indicated this had been an ongoing process, because when I had brought up the points of Title V only mentioned deep observation holes once, and that was only when a septic system was being put in, you had indicated that the deep observation hole, that was really more of a broad term. And so you had said that, that you wanted to have this defined more specifically. And this had been ongoing. So my question would be to you, Ms. Catalano, because you did bring this up, and you did explain this to me. Where are you, or the Board of Health, on this specific definition of a deep observation hole?
That, sir, was something that was on our agenda. We were looking at defining it further, because in the Title V definitions, it has no depth or anything such as that related to it. That is when the citizens' petition for the special town meeting came up, so we tabled it at that point, and we have not gone back to it.
I'm a bit confused, because in the February meeting, as I said, I wish I had the time index so I could be very specific as to what your words were, but you had said that it was a broad term, but more importantly, you had used the phrase, we have been in the process. And grammatically, to me, that means that was in the past, but ongoing. So in other words, it wasn't just, oh, we just decided upon looking at this in February. This had been something that was ongoing. So my question is, since this has been ongoing, where are you on the specific definition of a deep observation hole?
We are no further because we tabled it back in the fall. I believe we were in public session, so that has been tabled until we decide, you know, where we are in this process. So no, there has been no further work on the definition of a deep hole. Is that clear?
Yes, except that in the last meeting you had said that this was being worked on. Now you're saying
This
it
had
was tabled,
been
so that means there's no work being done on it.
That is correct.
So when do you plan on going back to this and getting a more specific definition of the deep observation hole?
That has not been decided.
That means
It's not.
So basically this, I mean, there are many points of contention that I have with what this board has done, but you had brought this up specifically, that a contention that the board seemed to have was that this was a broad term and it needed more specificity.
In response to many citizens that show up here that talk about it being a 10-foot hole, a 10-foot hole, a 10-foot hole. So that is why it was going to be looked at, because as I said, in the DPH Title V regs under definition of deep observation hole, there is no depth to the hole.
That's right.
And you say it's tabled, so how long is it?
Let's answer the question. The question is that there is no specific
My question was to Ms. Catalano.
I'm the chair.
Yes, but my question was to Ms. Catalano.
And you are not listening to my answers and re-asking the same questions. So I really have nothing further to add, and I will let the chair answer.
Okay, thank you.
Can I just say something here?
Well, if he's leaving, yes.
Well, I quite frankly, I really don't want to hear anything from the chair. I wanted to hear from Ms. Catalano, which you did. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
She did.
I also remember that conversation. And what he is asking is to very much legitimate question. If you said you tabled it, how long have you tabled it for? And when will it be brought back up? Because we, as taxpayers, and you work for we the taxpayers, and you owe us an answer. With all due respect, would you please answer the question? Simple.
I think it.
I can offer an answer.
The issue is the observation hole depth is not formally defined in the codes. And it's been reviewed by town council on 2 occasions, and we come up with it that it's legal.
But it hasn't been explained well enough for the citizens of this town for us to understand, even though we have asked repeatedly for a definition on this whole topic. And we have a right to know. This is our taxpayers' money that pay you and everybody else, so.
The definition of failure of a septic system is defined in Title V. And give you the citation.
We know that citation.
We
could repeat it by heart.
It's been defined in Title V, and we're just going back. The regulation goes right back to that definition as written in Title V. There's nothing new about it. Mrs. Cranston?
I just wanted to know what his suggestion was. You had an answer.
Yeah, you
Yes.
did.
My answer to the taxpayers and the voters of Sterling is that if you vote the right people onto this board, this will be rectified. Bottom line.
That's not necessary.
So I know the question was, when will it be answered?
Yes.
Most likely in May. And again, I encourage the voters to think about who they're voting for when the election comes up in May.
That's fine.
I just want to, if you can't define a deep hole, then you should remove it. Because, do you have any science to prove it's needed?
Oh, yes. I mean,
Where is it? It's because it's not the
failure. It's a failure as defined by Title V.
Title V. A failed system, okay, in Title V is one thing. You're talking about doing a hole when you've got a past Title V. That is not in Title V.
Oh, that's wrong. You're absolutely wrong.
When you have a correct passing Title V,
You can't be in the groundwater. I mean, it's specific in the code.
then if it's in addition to, okay, so if you think it's in the code, why did we add an additional requirement if it was already in the code? It wasn't needed.
No, it wasn't being enforced. It wasn't being enforced. We've already been here. We've produced 6, 7 communities that have this regulation. We could find more.
Why do you keep comparing Sterling to other communities? It's like the point, if you look at Title V, which I have right here, it doesn't say we have to be compliant with Clinton, we have to be compliant with Lunenburg, we have to be compliant with Acton. It specifically states the community has to be compliant, okay?
No.
As I said in the last meeting.
You're wrong.
I have it right here, sir. It does not
You're
say
reading the wrong section.
have to be compliant with other towns, just what the state requirements are.
State requirement says this is a failure.
State requirements right here never say that you have to be compliant with all the other towns around you.
Where?
All right, well, if we're gonna, as I said, I'm a native of Falmouth. We've got a sewer system's down on the Cape. All right, well, then we should put a sewer system here in Sterling because, well, the Cape is doing it. No, that's invalid.
We're going nowhere here.
Yeah, I just want to say that you say you have a number of towns that are doing the same thing. I stopped by the Board of Health office, asked for the emails. David called me, said he was going to email me, but I never got them, showing me the emails from the towns that said they do, and I actually spoke to those towns, and that's not what they said. I spoke to the agents.
You said you spoke with Westminster. Westminster is a town.
I spoke to 3 of them, and all 3 that I actually spoke to the agents. I don't know, I'd have to go back on my notes now because I can pass.
No, I mean, we have it in writing in the regulations, so we're...
I would just like to say, if I could, that both Mr. Tarr and yourself were emailed copies of that information.
No.
I didn't get it.
I'm sorry, I don't know that went to your spam or not, but they were emailed.
They were.
Did you get yours? Kathy Nickerson sent those to you. You sent back a nice reply saying that. So I know that information was distributed.
Okay, came from Kathy Nickerson. I listened to the Bureau, so I'll go back and look at it.
I think we're done.
Yeah, okay.
I don't see any new information coming.
Yeah, well, actually, I still have a question from Scott Lotto. And no, I'm not being repetitive here because you had said it's like that there was no definition for deep observation hole. Under CMR, under 310 CMR 15.102, deep observation hole test. Perhaps you can explain this to me. Deep observation holes shall be excavated into adjoining segments, the first ending at approximately the 5-foot level to allow detailed examination by the soil evaluator without need for shoring, and an adjoining segment which shall extend to a minimum depth of 4 feet below the bottom elevation of the proposed soil absorption system, but in no case less than 10 feet below existing natural grade unless such a depth is unattainable due to bedrock or refusal or high groundwater, or where human safety may be in jeopardy. It seems like we have some. It seems like we have some.
This is not a unique.
Excuse me. So I'm really asking. I'm really directing my question to Ms. Catalano, since she had really.
Okay, I will answer it.
Okay. I mean, I guess but when I look at this, it's like you said you wanted to be more specific, and I can see where, reading this. Yeah, I mean, it's giving depths, but in kind of like relation to a point that's not, let's say, fixed. Are you trying to, let's say, come up with basically a fixed point? In other words, to say it's like, okay, if groundwater is here, then the deep observation hole shall be, let's say, can be anywhere from here to here. In other words, are you trying to be more specific than what the law is already outlining?
If you look you're looking into the actual installation. If you look in the definitions, which I think is section 2 in the Title 5, if you look under deep hole observation, I didn't say there was no definition, I said there was no depth associated with the definition.
Okay.
It's not unique. Okay, I think we've explored this one. To adjourn.
Thank you, Ms. Catalano.
You're welcome.
Next meeting?
The next meeting date will be typically on Thursday, the second Thursday of the month, which is April 11th, if that works for all members. 6 o'clock.
Okay. I move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Okay.